for the remainder of this show,
we've got a couple of special guests yet to come. Yes.
Let's please welcome Alan and Jason Langvee. Okay, you are live.
I'm gonna reach for one now. But are you guys related in any way?
My son.
You gotta eat that mic, Alan.
Yeah, so father and son here.
Father and son musical generations.
That's about it, yeah. You got it.
There you got it.
Learn it from the best too.
Learn it from the best, yes.
And trying to carry on the torch. Yeah.
Alan, you're a drummer.
I'm a drummer,
Yeah.
lifetime drummer. Little guitar on the side too, but mainly drum.
So you've been playing in the music scene in Hamilton for quite a while. Have you been with some bands?
Since 1999, we moved the family from Montreal to Burlington, Ontario, 1999. And I thought I was packing it in when I left Quebec. And my neighbor happened to be a guitar player. We started talking about stuff. And next thing you know, we were playing Boston Manor in Burlington on a regular rotational basis and recording our original stuff.
Oh, wow.
Under the name The Dirt Dogs.
The Dirt Dogs.
The Dirt Dogs.
I have to jump in as the name because it was mostly fundraisers to start for the Bulldogs hockey team, right?
In
okay.
Burlington, the rep system. My younger son played in that, and we used to do fundraising parties. And so we thought the good name, or I won't even say the name before, but we decided Dirt Dogs would be a safer name with kids and
Got to keep it family friendly.
Exactly.
So rep hockey.
Exactly.
Not quite the Wiggles, but yeah, I had to rebrand. Right?
I always wanted to be the fifth Wiggle.
Yeah.
I got the T-shirt, didn't I? Yeah, the green one. That was the green Wiggle. Yes. So when you were in Montreal, were you part of the music scene there? Were you playing out?
Played right from high school right straight through till the time we moved away. I was in a group that used to play the National Film Board gigs quite regularly, Christmas parties and things like that, and played some bars, and played some private events. And like I said, I thought I was hanging it up, and got to Ontario, and things just came back to life. And we've gone through several versions of bands and some original stuff and a lot of cover stuff and regular play at bars.
You're playing out a lot still, or
yeah? Next Friday will be the Black Swan in North Burlington.
Okay.
It's a very regular rotation we're on there.
Is that Coalescence?
Coalescence.
Yeah.
New version, yeah. So when a couple of our key guitarists kind of went off on their own direction, we started bringing in new guitar players and started realizing that really that wasn't the core of the Dirt Dogs anymore. And my thought was the name Coalescence, kind of a coming together of musicians.
Melding.
And we've had some great, in fact, a couple of interviews ago, you had Ron Plange.
Yeah,
Ron actually
played with
us, gigged with us.
Ron in your band for a while there.
Yeah, and did some recording with Ron, and he's a fantastic guitarist.
Yeah, he played a couple songs. He's quite a picker for sure.
Yes, he is. And we actually did a recording of a piece that was originally written by a band in Estonia. I'm Estonian background, our keyboard player's Estonian background, actually in a jazz trio with another Estonian. So we're all from Montreal West originally, so we call ourselves the Mo West Trio. And
do you keep traditional Estonian music?
Actually,
most of the beverages, right?
Yeah. But our keyboardist has actually done some arrangements of some traditional Estonian music in a jazz format, and we played at this place called Ehatere. It's Estonian retirement home in Scarborough. We play there 3-4 times a year, and we try to slip in some of that traditional stuff in a jazz format. So
that's great. Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
Yeah. You find that the communities that have come over to Canada, but they keep the like we have some friends, Slovenian friends, who have a band, and they do like their what is their specialty in music? They do
like ska,
but they do traditional
Slovenian music,
as well. You know, they play the weddings, they do the halls and all that stuff. So they keep that. That's what started them.
Yeah.
That kind
folk
of
traditional.
Yeah, they're keeping that stuff going, and then they did some North American music.
Yeah.
some Western music as well. So that's good that when the communities stay together,
Yeah.
keep the traditional music alive, and yet bring the new stuff in as well.
Yeah.
Something that you've done yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, we did a recording, and that Ron was actually the main lead guitarist on that particular recording, and it was kind of to honor a band. They were kind of Rolling Stone level of Estonian youth.
The Rolling Estonian.
yeah, well, it's a very good drink, by the way. The band was called Ultima Thule, and they came here years ago to play a show at the Estonian House in Toronto. And we were asked to not only lend our equipment for the band because they came over without gear, but then after they played, they did their autograph meet and greet. Our band at the time, Dirt Dogs, got up and did kind of a dance fun set at the cover set afterwards, and it was so cool to meet these guys. And then we found out a few years ago that Riho Siebel, who was the main musical genius behind the band, had cancer, come down with cancer. So we decided to take one of their most traditional pieces that they'd written back in the day, back in just before Estonia regained its independence, and it was kind of a freedom, quiet protest song for the rock youth of Estonia.
Right.
And so we re-recorded it, and in fact, actually, an Estonian here in Toronto, who helped Riho write the English version of the song. They recorded it in English as well, and our band just recovered it as a dedication.
Nice.
Fortunately, we were in post-production, just getting the final mix together, and Riho passed away.
Oh,
so we
that's
never
too
heard it.
bad.
But the rest of the band's heard it, and I'd be in touch with those guys, and that's pretty cool.
Well, that's good. That's a special project to be a part of.
It was, it really was.
That's great.
I can go deeper into the Estonian thing too. Honestly, just
Is this something that has filtered down to you too as well, Jason?
well, I don't know that's. I mean, I've got familial ties to music. I know on both sides, and I've got 50% pure Estonian, which is obviously a redundant thing to say, but I just watched on his side. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, from his side, both he and his brother, they're 10 years apart, but both of them are drummers. We've got a percussionist that's your cousin that you've played with in the Dirt Dogs. And I just met a family friend that we grew up with, and he himself also is both a sought-after psychologist in Toronto and a percussionist. So I don't know what it is about you guys eating things. But, rhythm is important, I guess.
It's primal.
It's right.
Yeah, for sure. And then the music that you were exposed to through your father, is that how kind of music filtered into your life and became something that you were passionate about?
By large part, yeah.
Thursday night jam nights in my basement. Kids had to listen to us every Thursday.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. We had a free concert weekly.
Yeah.
Thursday. And
That's
actually,
when you got to try and turn your parents down.
Yeah, but I think my recording chops by sneaking microphones in that they didn't know were there, just to host work and figure that out. So yeah, I mean, I got privy to things that not everybody did, but the joke that was made when I was, just coming into my own was the fact that I think one of the first concerts I was in utero. You got me to a Gabriel concert or something like that.
Yeah.
And, from then on out, I just remember it was always that kind of, pop music was there, but it was always the deeper stuff that had kind of the artistic integrity was always the stuff that
more authentic music.
We only paid for 2 tickets, but we snuck Jason.
Sure,
yeah, exactly,
But he heard the concert.
the first scam of my life. Right?
Like sneaking in the drive-in.
Exactly.
Yeah. I've been fortunate. I mean, classic rock, I think we've got a lot of common desire to both play and listen to it together. I mean, all of our fishing trips, that's exclusively what we listen to pretty much. But, he mentioned he's getting into jazz now, and that's something that I think we're kind of finding contemporarily together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Neither of us, maybe I'm an old soul, but I certainly am finding jazz in my 30s, and you're kind of starting to figure it out as a technique as a drummer now in your 60s. And I think that's pretty cool to say that we're on concurrent timelines with, a whole generation gap, while we're going through it too. So.
Still honing your craft though as a musician.
Constantly.
Like you're always, it's a journey. It's not a destination.
In fact, COVID kind of did that because it shut us down. We couldn't get the band together. We tried online jamming, which totally did not work.
Yeah, when you get that lag in the internet connection.
Yeah. Not great for a rhythm player. and I decided to take up studying jazz. I've always liked jazz, but to play the technique. And shout out to Colin McVeigh over at Langvee in Burlington. Amazing drum teacher. And I've studied with him now for 3 years. And I'm in a jazz trio. Asked to sit in with a 7-piece jazz band to replace the drummer who's away right now, and I'm just loving the experience. And I think it's actually brought technique into my rock playing as well. So
Sure.
You never stop learning. Even my teacher Colin says, "Yeah, I'm still learning." It never ends. It just never ends. And Jason's taken it to a whole different level. I mean, Jason started playing guitar. Now he plays guitar, drum, bass. He does all his own mixing.
You guys ever jam or together? Has that ever been a
Something
project?
more, yeah.
Back in the day, maybe when you guys were young.
When we were off air, I was alluding to the fact I probably haven't been on stage in over a decade for sure.
Right.
Not in the musical stage yet, anyway. So, but the times that I was on the stage was he was getting me out there. I mean, I remember I was singing "Pretty Fly for a White Guy" when I was like 11, 12 years old when it came out, right? Just because that was
Right.
Father's Day barbecue that we could do. And then I remember every chance we got, we would be kind of putting together some mini set that the three key. Myself and my brother, who also played bass at the time, and
Perfect trio, power trio.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Unfortunately, my voice hadn't quite broken, and my brother was younger than I, so he had that falsetto. Yeah, there you go. So.
Keep progressing. Yeah, nice.
That sounds amazing.
Begrudgingly, I'll say this is that I think you guys had a video at some point. So
There is a video
Sonic
floating
Radio
around
VHS somewhere.
It was during
Needs to be digitized.
it might have to.
VHS there for sure. Yeah.
That's great, but a family, a house full of music, and a family
Always
that's
love it.
making music is got to be a great place to grow up, Jason, and to open your ears and your heart to different ways of expression, and just the joy of music.
Well, Jason's journey has taken him in so many different music genres and directions, and it's pretty impressive. Like, talk about your international collective.
Well, I'll even go back first and just the household of music, right? I mean, to be able to be autonomously kind of doing it, you kind of have to have some kind of support, or at least you're rebelling for it to find it yourself, right?
Right.
So it's either one or the other. I think you probably had more rebel than I did because you wanted to foster it, which was my benefit. So my house, our house, your jam room was my jam room. So by the time I was 13 or 14, and sports were still interesting, but not as interesting as getting a bunch of guys in the room together to write and jam.
For sure.
I had that room constantly. I had the PA system. I had
All the toys were there.
So it's just like I would plug and play the bodies, right? And
That's
so
great.
I mean, I had an opportunity, and then gear is not cheap, but you have somebody that knows you can go out and get it and ask for Christmas that you're upgrading, you're getting a bigger amp so that you're not having to rent on the way. I mean, I've had support my whole way, so that didn't ever present a barrier. The only barriers were your standard creative issues, which I think we all go through, right?
Right. Yeah. But your focus has been, and I did a little bit of surfing through your
Appreciate that.
your library last night, and your focus has been more on the production side and the
Largely,
releasing the music kind of on the internet, as opposed to, like you say, looking to play live or take it on into a live kind of.
Exactly. Yeah, I would say music for me, I mean, I don't know, I found myself through, we all find ourselves through our 20s and stuff like that, but I didn't do music through that stretch, right? It was kind of an adolescent thing, and then when I got into university and when I started my job, I kind of put it out on the back shelf and kind of, didn't forget about it. I was still passionate about it, being a consumer of music, but I didn't do it a whole lot, right? And then, I mean, I kind of got through school again, got a new job, met my now wife, and kind of figured out that stuff adds to the whole picture rather than oftentimes takes it away. And so to answer the question on the production side, what I figured out is really, I mean, that's kind of the therapy of music for me, is to sit down there and kind of suss out an idea and work on it. And I've got my preclusivities. I think ADHD is there. I can be anxious. And so to sit down there and have full control over something that has no timeline, especially when you can slow it down and record it half as fast as if you need to, because that's what the time requires. That to me was always really appealing and still is. So it's kind of kept me interested. And I mean, I'll also parlay into technology, right? I started with the entry into this digital world of easy access to recording at home.
Right, yeah.
Where we are now, I think, is ridiculous for like the access of what you have access to, even though
You can dream it up. You can.
yeah. So like, yeah, you used to hear something. It's like, how the hell did they do that? And now it's like, okay, well, it's a matter of YouTubing and Googling, and all of a sudden you've got a vocoder. You can do, what Kanye was doing that blew
All
our
these
minds. Or
plugins you can get.
Hip-hop side, exactly, right?
It's
Auto tune
software.
it. And sort of bring all that in and figure out what you want to create with it is really appealing.
Yeah, and you post this, like you have it on the platforms, and does it get a lot of traction? Do you put it into these kind of subgenres where I would say the music that you're doing is pretty ethereal, it's kind of avant-garde, it's got a lot of different influences in there.
I appreciate
I gotta give you total prop and respects for dropping in some Alan Watts. When I heard that, I was like, okay, there's some depth there for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably because I was listening to a lot of Alan Watts, and that was kind of just, it made sense to that driving beat at the time. So I appreciate that deep dive as well. But I figured out the driving force was creating the music, and then kind of since COVID, I think this whole digital era has opened up. At least I've seen a lot more, and I was maybe just paying a lot more attention. But we all, as artists, had to kind of do it on our own without the public for a long time, and so there's opportunities presented too. And so my dad alluded to it. I mean, recording kind of asynchronously, sending files and be able to mix that. We could have done that 15, 20 years ago, but not at the amateur indie level, the way that we can now do it. And so that was kind of real. I mean, I think that was my first collaboration in that. And then kind of leads into, where does that go, right? I love the idea. I actually told a friend prior to kind of getting back into music, I just wanted to always package one album. Like that was just the goal at one point. And so that song kicked off that album, essentially. It was the first track, and it got me kind of going. It's like, okay, well, I know I've got a couple more that have been sitting there forever. Why don't I actually put the time into it and actually produce it? And once that happened, it's like, okay, well, I want to do it justice. I actually am on the other side a lot in the promotion, marketing, et cetera, professionally. I don't want to do that for music. So how do I maximize getting it out there so I'm not creating for a void, but at the same time, it's easy and it's not costing me anything as an independent musician as well, right?
Right. But
royalties are not coming in at this.
No, you're
anybody wants to hit a lot of
little
streams.
bubble in a big
exactly, right?
A big ocean, for sure.
Yeah, and so figuring out, to your question, where do we put this? So in COVID, there was a platform that kind of came out to rival SoundCloud, which is my entry point, which is the easiest pathway.
Yep.
And honestly, through SoundCloud to this day is how I distribute to bigger platforms. So that's neither here nor there. But there's another platform that came out in this Web3 kind of crypto area that was Audius. And that one kind of blew up for me in terms of just integrating with an audience that was mostly listening to electronic music, it seems to this day. But I think I'm a splash of something that's different. And not a lot of contemporary artists maybe are looking at the tech kind of advances, doing blues or rock or that kind of style. And so maybe that was where I got a chance to get some virality for a little bit. So to your question, I think I'm close to 600,000-700,000 streams online through a couple platforms, and that's
going to make $20 or $30.
There you go, right? But to get to that point, I'm massively excited to figure out some avenue of getting there, right?
Yeah, and obviously you're just touching that many listeners. Never mind the financial aspect of it, for sure. Is this the song that we're talking about?
I do have access to your material. If there's a particular song.
Well, so ironically then, today is a great day to be talking to you because I actually have a release that just got to distribution platforms. It's actually a remix, so my apologies, it's not English, it's a French rap tune that I did a full kind of re-envisioning of the instrumental to it. So if you don't mind, it's Copacabana, it'd be the top song.
I have the power.
Well, let's spin it, Gary. We're here on Shake It Up Radio.
That's what we do.
Making May, who is an amazing artist from France.
Planqué dans un bled au fin fond d'Amérique centrale,
recherché par Interpol pour une histoire de braquage. Poursuivi aussi par les gars de la mafia étage. Je me réfugie au milieu de la jungle sauvage. On travaille tous pour une compagnie pétrolière américaine avec un salaire de misère exploité comme des mers. On passe nos journées noyées par la tequila et la bière et parfois une pupille de maladie vénérienne. Il y a aussi Johnny le Yankee qui a fui son pays pour des stories de détournement de fonds pharaoniques. Il y a aussi Tarek, un palestinien sympathique qui a posé 2-3 bons contre l'entité sioniste. Il y a aussi Vlad dans sa boutique bizarre, on connaît pas son histoire, planqué derrière son regard noir, posé dans la taverne, je sirote ma tequila, avec des rêves dans la tête dans lesquels je me vois. Cigare Havana, chapeau banane, posé tranquille sur une plage de Copacabana. Cigare Havana, chapeau banane, posé tranquille sur une plage de Copacabana. Un jour, un mec de la société est venu recruter 4 chauffeurs déterminés afin de convoyer de la nitroglycérine au milieu de la jungle hostile. Autre chose de l'heure à la clé, c'était rapide et une prime. Alors on se retrouve avec Jenny, Vlad et moi, on prend des camions et des cales, la cargaison délicate, un seul camion pour 2 gars, je me retrouve avec le sable et on part sans bourber dans notre mission kamikaze. Après quelques heures, on rencontre notre premier obstacle, un plan tout délabré, abandonné, perdu dans une ambiance mal tenir en équilibre sur ses pieds planchers pas très sûrs. Vlad n'est pas bavard, mais dans la conduite il assure. Arrête, c'est bien débrouillé, alors Jenny fait son boulet. Vlad commence à tousser, on continue de rouler. C'est au fond de cet enfer qu'on essaie de trouver l'espoir. Pour ne pas perdre les nerfs, je répète ce mantra. Cigare Havana, chapeau banane, posé tranquille sur une plage de Copacabana. Cigare Havana, chapeau banane, posé tranquille sur une plage de Copacabana. Vlad est maintenant mort d'une tuberculose fulgurante. Pendant que la tension monte, je fouille son cadavre tranquille. Je trouve un revolver que je plante direct dans mon froc. Puis je jette son corps dans le marais qui disparaît dans la flotte. Je rejoins mes deux compères, y a une embrouille, ils sont vénères. Johnny frappe le pauvre Tarek avec une bûche dans la tête. Alors je sors mon revolver et bute le homme qui part derrière. Et j'embarque Tarek pour les derniers kilomètres. Tarek, mon gars sûr, a succombé à ses blessures. Pendant que la voix de Dean Martin résonne dans la voiture, il pousse son dernier soupir à travers un sourire. Pile au moment où on a atteint notre objectif, je ramasse les billets et je me casse de cet enfer vite fait bien. Avec tous ces billets verts, je pourrais me construire un palais. Mais c'est là que je loupe un virage et finir dans un parfum, je crève. Moi tout ce que je voulais en fait, c'était rien qu'un cigare Havana, chapeau banane, posé tranquille sur une plage de Copacabana. Cigare Havana, chapeau banane, posé tranquille sur une plage de Copacabana.
Jason Langvee, everybody. Is that under your name? Just Jason Langvee?
You got it, yeah. So it's the Copacabana Jason Langvee remix, and the French rapper's name is Mikey May.
Okay. And this is the first single of an album that you're kind of putting together, or?
Well, that's an interesting question
Anybody
because
that-
I have a second one that
Yeah.
we're collaborating on that'll be a part of his 40th birthday album in December, and then we already chatted to that exact end.
Is he from Quebec or from
He's
France?
from France.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And how do you connect?
So that's a great parlay, and I was just thinking through this. I mean, I would be remiss not to talk about that kind of change in COVID, is that I got to connect with a bunch of people through Audius. And one of the cool parts of that platform is that rather than just put your song out, you can upload stems too. And so
stem is
the stem being like the subcomponents of the song. So you could have your guitar stem and your vocal stem and your bass stem for the whole track for other
so
musicians.
bed tracks.
You got it,
Okay.
exactly, yeah. So, and that, again, this is me learning through people that are probably not producers making up their own terms on the way, right? This is the tech world that you align that. But I remember thinking back when I was making my own music with listening to other people, it's like, you watch those kind of behind the VH1 behind the music, and you can actually watch people pull
When they do
back the
fader
bed tracks. And you
yeah,
get,
that's super cool.
you know, how cool would that be if you had a really, really amazing artist that you love to be able to, you know, download all
Remix
of that.
their
And
stuff,
you
yeah.
can remix it, but you can even just listen to it and understand, you know, what did the isolated vocal sounded like on this amazing track for Freddie Mercury or whomever, right? And so that was, you know, through that, I got to do, I ran my own remix contest of a cover I did of Bring It On Home.
Bring It On Home?
Zeppelin tune, yeah, absolutely. I did a 6/8 kind of bluesy cover of that with an acoustic guitar I built. And I put it out there, and because of that weird niche EDM over there, and I put this acoustic song, I got a bunch of EDM artists remixing it.
Wow.
And so that was my initial kick at the virality there, but I got to meet a bunch of people. Fast forward now 2-3 years, and we've actually put together an informal collective. It's Collab Haven Records, and so anybody that wants to be a part of it, we just kind of prioritize collaboration. So we've got the user, or Wes, is in the Netherlands. He's an amazing producer. That's kind of the head honcho of the organization, so to speak, informal one. We've got Mike and May in terms of MC. We've got a bunch of different producers in the US, Canada, throughout Europe. So
You might even let Coalescence in there.
Oh, okay. I hired the old man.
yeah. I mean, honestly, you give me some stems, I get you some remixes.
So famous.
Yes.
We got some questions from the audience.
Oh, okay. Audience questions. Is there any questions from the audience? Anybody? Anybody at all?
Yes. So, they have Irish nights and pubs, and what do you think of a French-Canadian night, or do you think you would get people coming out for stuff like that? Right?
It's a good question.
You do stuff in French, right? Or Estonian, or what, all the different genres you guys are into,
Yeah.
right? To promote them and have, like, a small bench like here.
That's a super idea.
Right?
Almost an international music fair.
Yeah, that'd be my pitch on it. I'll put on my marketing hat for it. But I think, the whole jazz kind of world is that way already, right? So to have a French-speaking jazz artist come into a jazz night fits well, but then you can also highlight that for a specific night. And I mean, I know there's no shortage of those artists. And we were on a fishing trip, and I got to just listen to a guy that put his guitar away just because COVID happened. But he then, like a month after I met him, was performing at Cirque du Soleil and winning awards. So, French-speaking artists in Canada even would want the chance to play at spaces even this size. So,
And so are you guys Hamilton?
Yeah.
You both live in Hamilton?
Burlington, yeah.
Same, yeah, okay.
Yeah, Lancaster.
So that was my thought, right? Be it local, would there be enough interest, do you think? Because you guys are on the scene, right?
Well, and I'll be honest,
Pull something like that off in Hamilton.
you don't have any French music, do you? Yeah, so I don't know that.
Connect
I'm
Tunes is
asking you,
bilingual. Connect Tunes is bilingual.
Yeah.
We play French and English
Oh, yeah?
songs. Oh, yes.
No, I'm sorry.
Well, we were actually just
Sorry.
talking. We were just talking before. Like, the jazz trio I'm part of, made up of 3 Estonians, and Heikki Tom, our keyboard player, does all the arranging, and he's taken a bunch of Estonian folk music, traditional folk music, and then rearranged it into a jazz format.
Right.
And
More accessible.
and it's more accessible. Obviously, it's not like a traditional Estonian song, folk song. It's now the melody, but just done in a jazz format with soloing and so I think there's definitely an opportunity even to go out to multiple ethnic communities and suggest something like that. I think that would be a really cool event to be part of.
So like Estonian, I didn't even know there was a different language for Estonians.
Yeah.
Right?
Estonian, all the
There's a
Baltic
big
countries.
music scene. So what's the population in Hamilton?
Not high.
Although
Although
Estonians,
Yeah.
there's a pretty good population. In Toronto, there's a huge population. And Hamilton, there's a church here. There's a large group, Estonian group that lives here. Yeah. So that there could be a draw for that. I remember coming when I was in Montreal. I used to be part of the Estonian folk dance troupe, and we used to come to Toronto and play the Caravan. If you remember Caravan, it used to be an ethnic community.
Yeah.
Bounce around from Estonian house to Latvian house to Slovenian house, and each house during that week would host all of their traditional art, so music, art, film, dance, whatever. And it was a really cool event. Like they'd have that every summer in Toronto. So I mean, that's cool. That's almost taking it to the next level of kind of hosting an art festival and there's so many new ethnic groups coming now to Canada based on what's happening in the world. So.
And they've all got their own music. They're all bringing their
Got
own music.
styles, and what a great way to cross over and mix culture and mix ideas. Like I find it fascinating. We go to the Estonian retirement home out in Scarborough and play to these people, and they're listening and they're singing the songs. Like, so we have one where it's called Estonian Potpourri, and it's a mix of a bunch of different folk tunes, and we just kind of jump from one to the other. And I was playing it, and I looked out of the crowd, and all these people were singing all the different,
And they're bopping to it.
bopping to it, and it was like, wow. I
Bringing it back to their childhoods, yeah.
Exactly.
That's
I
right.
played to deader audiences. So,
So, yeah, because I like to have conversations with you at a different age.
Sure.
With that kind of stuff, right? Because here at the Catfiddle, we're looking at being more.
International.
Yeah.
We want to be
you
more
know,
international here.
I was talking to somebody about it, and this was the perfect thing when I heard you tell your story of changing up the music and that. So we would be interested here, or maybe doing something like that, spreading our wings a little more. Because honestly, if no one else is doing it, and of course it's all about making money in this tight time, right? So
well, like that.
We're building community.
there's
We're building community.
Well, even the artist that Jason just mentioned, we were on a fishing trip at the beginning of the summer, and we were sitting by the fire, kind of wrapping up the night, and this guy came over with a guitar and just started strumming, and all of a sudden went into this tune, and we were all just, whoa, what just happened there?
Joey Malat, shout out.
And we exchanged phone numbers, and we found out he's got this whole backing in Quebec, and he's written some just amazing music, and he'd be a great guy kind of bring some Quebec culture too.
There you go, yeah. You guys have to connect.
I mean, growing up in Montreal, I realized there's a whole different, you know, I mean, some artists like Pagliaro and covered the whole market, but there were some Quebec artists when I grew up, Harmonium and Offenbach, and some bands that were just unbelievable.
Rock Voisine.
Rock was it?
Yeah. There's a lot of good bands. We used to party in Quebec, Valley Fiddle, right?
Okay.
River, so there was a lot of good pub bands.
You may still be wanted in Quebec, actually.
That's possible. Thank God it's a different country there. You need a visa to go there. No, we really like to talk to you guys because when I heard you, it kind of went in my head, and I was talking to one of the other artists here, and I thought this might work.
Just might work.
We almost made Ron
Big boss,
an honorary Estonian because he played on that tune that we did for the Ultimate Tool, I think.
You Estonian strength.
We've been known to.
Well, it's been great to have you guys here. It's great to meet you, Jason Langvee.
Thanks so much for this opportunity.
Great to listen to your music.
I hope you guys come out to see us play sometime.
Talk to the boss, and we might get an Estonian night here after all. Estonian / French night.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks again, guys.
Thank you, guys.
You have been listening to Shake It Up live from the Cat and Fiddle, corner of John Street South and Augusta in Hamilton on CanuckTunes.ca. Join us each and every Friday at noon as we bring the newest and freshest talent in this area home to you. Don't forget Cat and Fiddle's anniversary celebration continuing. Get all the details on their Facebook page and Instagram at Cat and Fiddle Hamilton. For Famous, my name is Gary Greenland. I am celebrating my birthday today, and you're not. Have a great day and a great weekend.
Good day, Hamiltonian. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to go to the Cat and Fiddle, 174 John Street South. Have a few drinks, listen to live music, or have a bite or two of fine pub cuisine. This recording will self-destruct in 5 seconds.